morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We always appreciate you tuning in, and 80% is showing up, and you showing up for your success means, for Rhea and I, we put on this show to really help entrepreneurs to have the success that they truly want. And Rhea, she talks about real estate, and I'll talk about mindset. And today I'm going to be talking about choosing your perspective, right? So before I do go ahead, I want to introduce myself. Welcome everyone to the show. My name is Alka.
My name is Rhea.
And welcome
to
our
show.
All right. And today I'm going to be talking about choosing your perspective. And as you can see here, I always like to illustrate with what I'm talking about because, this is a stick figure that is devised by a Vietnamese psychologist. And he talks about, your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your body, and what's the B got to do with your conscious and the subconscious, because your body is the instrument of your mind, right? So you're at your conscious. This is where is your intellectual part of your mind, and these antennae that you can see up here, these are like, if you want to have the analogy of the frequencies, right, as of the radio station. So the radio station, you have the AM frequency and you have the FM frequency, and in order to go to the FM frequency, you've got to accelerate your frequency of your mind. So from your subconscious to your conscious, and vice versa, from your conscious to subconscious. If you are at your conscious mind, you are at your AM frequency, and your subconscious, this is where is your dominant part of your mind, which controls everything, controls the positive, the negative, of how the perspectives that we see in life, is how we choose to how we choose to live, is how we choose to do. So our behaviors is always dictated by our actions, and how every part of the mind. That's what this stick figure is very, very important to understand. So that your body is the instrument of mind. So for example, if you have anything that's happening in your mind as to what you're feeling, or you could be anxious, or anything that's happening, that is going to show up internally in your body, right? So your body, and then your body is going to respond. Whatever's happening on the inside internally is going to reflect to your mind. So that's why your body is the instrument of your mind, because they both communicate together from the top to the bottom and the bottom to the top, and then what is happening. And so today I want to talk about choosing your perspective. And your perspective, literally, we are coming to the end of 2025, and as I explained to you the last conversation, I wanted you to, I set you a challenge, and that challenge was to see how make a list of where you are today. What have you done? What did not get done? Why didn't it get done? And because this is how you can measure yourself, and this is what's is very, very effective, because when we can start to realize as to what are those, what's really holding us back, and is there anything that's holding you back? 2025 is over and 2026 is beginning. And so what are your goals? What's your perspective that you are seeing today that has either held you back or has shifted your mindset to where you are and where you want to go? Because where you are is definitely not, we are never the same. We are never the same. We always have to change. And especially as, as entrepreneurs, we're always evolving. We're always evolving to the next phase, to the next stage. And when we can do so, this is how, everything starts to happen. So are you getting ready to, you know, um, to set your goal, to set your 2026 into where you want it to be? So choosing your perspective, right? Choosing your perspective is going to be one of the most important, because your perspective in life in general can either guide you to the right direction, guide you to your goals, guide you to your health, guide you to your, how you really want to see life. And for many people, they do get stuck. They get stuck in their ways. They get stuck in, in the negativity. And it's very unfortunate, because when you're stuck in the negative mindset, your perspective doesn't change, because your outlook has not changed. You're in that fixed mindset. You don't have a growth mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, you're always inside that, cocoon, that I want to say. Because when you're in that cocoon, you don't see much ahead of you. It's that when you're in the picture, you can't see the frame. And this is what, unfortunately, for most people, this is how they are like, because they are always in that fixed mindset. They don't have a growth mindset. If you have a growth mindset, your perspective is bigger, your perspective is larger than you, and you seek opportunities much quicker and much better. But when you stay in a fixed mindset, your perspective does not change. You don't change. You are at a plateau. So if you feel, what your goals were for 2025, you had those big goals, whether for your business, your work, and you have not reached those goals. And I want to ask you why. Ask yourself the question, why? Why have you not reached those goals? What is holding you back? What has held you back? So this is a challenge I want to set you today, is to identify, where are you today on a scale of 1 to 10, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you today? Are you in the middle? Are you at the end? You're at a 10, you reach on your goals, or you're literally like, say, a 3. So this is your barometer. Measure where you are, because, it's December. By the time, in the blink of an eye, it's going to be December. Then the year's gone. So with that span of this 1 month left, how do you choose? How do you choose to, the goals that you're going to set for the month we have left? What are you choosing to see? What is your perspective that you want to improve in your life today? So I'm just going to leave it there, because I know it's a little bit just harder to digest, especially when it comes to your mind, and I want to always refer to the stick figure, because the stick figure really will help you to see always, every time, where you are today in your life. And I always will refer back to it, because this is what's helped me to to really live my life. I know many years ago, about a good 8-9 years ago of my life, I too I always stayed in that fixed mindset. But staying in that fixed mindset didn't allow me to grow. I didn't evolve. I stayed inside that cocoon for many years. But it was up to me, and it's up to you to change. Because when you change, your perspective shifts, you change, and you are allowing the growth mindset to develop and have, opportunities into your life. So that's a challenge for you, everyone, today, is to have that barometer. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you at a 3? Are you on the left side? Are you in the middle? Or are you at the end? Okay, so that's my challenge. And when we come back tomorrow, I will ask you the same. Did you do the challenge? Ria, got any thoughts?
Thanks, Alka. Yes. So you talked about having a fixed mindset, and
Yes,
I remember you mentioned about the cocoon. I know you wrote the book, right? From Cocoon to CEO, which
right.
is basically the story of your life. Now, if a person is stuck, right, with a fixed mindset, like you said, we
Mm-hmm.
only have, few weeks left, less than we're actually close to mid-November, and we have
Mm-hmm.
30 days of December. So literally like 6 weeks, right? Till
Right.
another 2026. So if a person has a fixed mindset and they want to, from a cocoon to bud to a beautiful butterfly, just like in your book, and they have 6 weeks left, what are the necessary steps, top 3 that they need to do so that they can, like open up their cocoon and become a beautiful butterfly, just like in your book?
Wonderful. That's a great question. Such a great question. And one of the things that I will share is that, when I can use my example, when I was inside that cocoon, I obviously I was when you're inside that cocoon or when you're in any adversity of that matter, when you're in the picture, you can't see the frame, you can't see the bigger thing that's happening. So one of the things that I can share is, number one, you got to make that conscious effort. You got to want to change. There's no point in saying I won, I want a promotion in my job, or I want to have an X amount when it comes to your finances. But if you're not willing to put in the work that it takes to get there, because when I was inside that cocoon and I was in that picture, but I couldn't see the frame, I couldn't see what was happening on the external. I had to change. I had to be the one to make that shift. Okay, number one, it's going to be the change. And because we are, December is coming in the blink of an eye, and it's going to be 2026. So you got to have that change. So change in the direction of your goals, in the direction of where you want to go. And then number two, you got to be determined to see your life going forward. So it doesn't matter if you're inside that cocoon, you've always been inside that cocoon, and you've always held, or the other alternative is that what's held you back from not succeeding. It's never too late. You can always succeed, but you got to take those steps to do that, right? You got to take the steps. You got to get out. You got to snap out of what you're going through. You got to snap out and don't be a victim, but be a victor, and say, whatever I'm going through, whatever's holding me back, I will not be the same person, because I know that that person who's waiting for me on the other side, I am victorious and I will do it. So number two, you've got to be determined. And then number three step, so you've got to change. Number one, you've got to be determined. And then number three is you got to set goals. If, as I said, have that barometer of to, where you are, because that's how you measure yourself, that's how you measure your life, and this is how you succeed. So it's not too late to do that. You can still do that. So number three, you got to set goals for every step in your life, in your business, in your work, and what is happening, and see as to what you can improve on, what you didn't improve on for the rest of this month, and then go in 2026, what you're going to do even better. So these are my three steps that people can start to take. Doesn't matter if you're inside the cocoon or if you've held yourself back from a long time, but just snap out of it and you will do it.
Thank you, Alka. So it reminds me, right? I was picturing that it's like if you're a cocoon and the environment, blows your cocoon away. So that's a
Yeah.
change of environment, right? From
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
clinging to, for example, a tree, right? The cocoon is clinging onto the tree and the wind blows you. That wind actually is a blessing because there's a change in environment. And now you're still inside the cocoon. And so what you said next was determination. So now you have to force yourself out of the cocoon, be determined, like you said, to snap out of that cocoon, right? And when you snap out of the cocoon, you have to have a set target of goals. So if a butterfly, I would think, a goal of a butterfly is to actually pollinate several flowers. So the goal of a butterfly to be hopping from one flower to another to pollinate the beautiful flowers. So that's how I see, and thanks for sharing.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. That's, you know what? I love that. I love the analogy of how you see that, because that's exactly what it is. And that's exactly how change, when you talk about the wind, but that's how, it forces you, it forces us to to get better every time. So I love that analogy. I love that point, because if you see yourself, you know, creating the life that you want, or creating whatever the case may be, but this is how we need to do it. It forces you to do that. And so you've got to force yourself to create that change. You've got to force yourself to always keep it evolving. So I love that. Thank you, Maria. And so we
Thank you.
have come to the end of another amazing show. Thank you all for tuning in. We always appreciate, um, you know, your time, and we will see you the same time, same place. Come tomorrow morning. Make the rest of the day the best of your day, and also do the challenge that I just set for you, because this is how you grow, this is how you learn, and this is how you change. So with that, we will see you all come tomorrow morning. Make the rest of the day the best of your day, okay? And we will see you next time. Bye for now.